This is the Chronorad Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
Over 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Look at that. I forgot to take the item. There we are. Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. Streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is June 23rd, 2023, and this is episode 329 of the Workshop Podcast. Ooh, Workshop Radio. Look at that. Still getting used to the new studio down here. I have my missus with me. There's my floating arm coming. Hey, Carrie Brown, good to have you. So whenever you get settled into a new space, there's always just the weird things getting them worked out, eh? So, yeah. But anyway, let's get the announcements out of the way, and then first thing we're going to... Oh, look, we got 10 people in here already. Great to have you. I love Fridays with the... they said based. I'm thinking they're saying best or biased, Mrs.
Biased,
Cook.
probably.
We're going to have a good one tonight. I always love our Friday night shows, baby doll. Appreciate you showing up. You had a rough day, didn't you?
Not a rough day, just a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
all
long.
right.
We decided that we were going to carpet clean.
Oh, well, you get to hang out with your sexy husband this evening. So
yes.
nothing worse. I mean, better than that, is there? So.
Well, yeah, going back to the daycare and working more.
Oh, well, hey, you can do what you want. No. All right. So first off, guys, next Sunday night, we are having an auction for Jenny Hill. It's going to be live, kind of similar to the workshop live radio we did before. 5 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, 3 to 7 Mountain time. Based. Oh, based means you take no bullshit. Yeah, ain't that the truth? She don't take no bullshit. So
Don't have time for that.
yeah, nobody got time for that bullshit.
Nobody got time for bullshit.
Sunday, July 2nd. Nicole and I are going to host it. We're going to have a bunch of Jenny's friends on there. If you check out the link in the description, you can see all the cool stuff that is on there now to put your bids in, get started with it. And yeah, we're going to have fun. I'm looking forward to it. Number 2, Nicole. So I've been promoting her Homesteader Starter Pack, and she gave the workshop community a $200 code off. Use the code Toolman, and you end up getting it for, I think it's like $249 instead of $449. It's an 8-week live stream. It's really cool. Who else does she have in there? Oh, Mike Leos. You remember Leos from? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be there. And Ryan Stevio was on the show the other night. He's going to be doing a live with her as well. And you get access, since it's already started a week ago, you get access to the previous recordings and the Patch of the Month Club. Don't forget, the newest patch is getting ready to go out first of next week. I'm kind of excited. Silver's going out. Battery packs are going out. I'm taking a trip to, I guess it's Monday, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Monday, I'm going to Montana. We'll see how far I go, but we're going to go at least across the border.
Yeah, you're going to Great Falls.
Yeah, I'm going to Great Falls because she wants me to bring groceries back, so it'll be fun. So it'll either be a 16-hour round-trip day, or I'll go down, spend the night, and come back. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah,
right? So,
you'll come back.
Yeah, I probably will. I'll get lots of audiobook time in, you know. So and finally, guys, if you're not on the Telegram group, what are we at now? Let me check. 223 members. But the cool thing is it's not huge. It's a great place to interact with one another, have a great time, chat, share inappropriate memes at times, have a good laugh at each other's expense, but mostly just encourage other people. And that's what we're there for. So if you haven't joined Telegram before, come by and join us. Links in the description. And with that, we're live. Mm-hmm. Good to have you, baby. Always love her.
Turn that light off.
That's fine. Yeah, no,
eyes.
You're good. You're getting some of the glare off the. You're good. You're just as pretty with the lights on or the lights off. So wait,
did you?
That sounds right, doesn't it? Yeah, I meant it right. So go ahead.
Oh, is that our...
I did, yeah. So I went back through today.
I thought you forgot Amy.
No, I didn't. So here's the deal. So everybody wants to know who won the trivia last week. So I went back through and added everybody up. The problem is that the live stream replay only shows the YouTube comments.
Oh, no.
So I couldn't see the Facebook comments. So we know that it was rigged, and my sister-in-law probably got somewhere in third or second. We don't know. But anyway, so we're going to give her a prize anyway, but we're going to take the family connection out of it, and we're going to list all of the winners.
Yeah.
So
she did answer the question.
oh, she did great. Yeah, she wasn't.
She wasn't cheating. I didn't give
not
her the answers.
at all. No. So, and I'm going to have my first sip of an old fashioned this evening.
What bourbon drinking tonight?
What did I get out tonight? I can't even remember. The one I got in North Carolina.
Oh,
It's really good. I'm using orange bitters with a really good orange peel. Oh, that's really good. And vanilla bean syrup. Excellent. Oh, yeah. So Chris Dixon wants to know what my shirt says. My shirt says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. These are the awesome shirts that Mr. John Willis sends me a lot. And I absolutely appreciate it. He sends them to me, no strings attached, but I fucking love his gear. And I promote the hell out of him. Go to original SOE equipment. originalsoegear.com. You can get all his shirts. The problem is that by the time they land up here in Canada, they're almost always sold out. So the latest one that just landed today was Make America Free Again. And I'm like, that's kind of funny. I could change that out to Canada. But yeah, John makes some incredible shirts. Always love getting them in the mail. Okay, so we're going to announce in reverse order. So here's what I did. I went back through and I gave each person that answered the question, the first 3 people that answered the question, I give them a point. That's the best way I could do it. So
that's fair.
I went back through. So the first 3 people to bring up the right answer, I gave them a point and I totaled them all up. And I'm going to go backwards. So we made, let's see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We had 11 people. So the bottom 3 tied for 9th place. So Sean Mills, Mr. Landfill, and Backwoods Butcher both got 2 points. Rob got 3 points. Dowie, so Rob and Dowie tied for 7th. They each got 3 points. Jokerless or Jokerless got 4 points. Haas with 5. We're getting close. Aaron just missed out on the medals. She got 6 points. So the top 3 we're going to send prizes to.
Yes.
All right. So 3rd place, Nate with 9 points. That means he got 9 questions right. Goofy Roofy with 11 points. And I think absolutely no surprise here at all. Byron Roberts with 20 points. Almost double Goofy Roofy. So you guys got, if you guys want to reach out to me, I'll try to reach out to you as well. But I know, Nate, I've got yours. Byron, I have yours, I believe. Goofy, I'm not sure what your real name is. I get the handles mixed up between people. So get me your address and we will, I think we're getting the prizes off Amazon this time, right? Yeah. So we'll have them shipped directly to you guys. So that was a ton of fun. I think we're going to do it in probably once a month or so, right?
Oh, definitely.
We could probably even do it when I'm in Tennessee, couldn't we? We'll just live stream, except we won't be in the same room and you won't be able to hit me, which will be kind of cool. So for that, guys, thank you. That was, we had a blast. It
was fun.
That show did really well. It did. I think it was our most watched live stream. Hey, there's the winner right there. Speaking of trouble, Byron Roberts, good to have you, brother.
He already said hi.
I missed him. Oh, yeah, there's people everywhere.
You don't pay attention.
I do my best. I'm busy yakking. You got to watch the comments. You know how it is. Jeez. Frig. Man.
Pay attention to yourself.
So,
it's
yeah.
not your hat.
It was my hat. Where's my hat? Yeah, I lose my hat. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, this last weekend was, I think, our highest watched or rewatched live stream ever. And then the very next night, Nate's show beat that, which was incredible. Nice. It was awesome. I was so happy. Everybody loves comms-based shows, but we well over 200 rewatches on the live stream, and then Nate's was 20 or 30 more than that. So I'm 95% sure. I know Nate's is the top one now. So, hey, Rachel Brown, good to have you. So how's your week been, baby?
Busy.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Just, I don't know. Just can't get out of my way.
Byron must know. The problem is I haven't had too much. I haven't had enough bourbon yet. So that's the problem. But it's just been a busy week, hasn't it?
Yeah, just one of those weeks where you just, like you feel like you can't get any, like there's so much to do, but yet you can't get any of it done type of weeks. But,
spinning your wheels. I've been the same way. I mean, you know what I've, been working on, but last weekend, it was kind of nice. We finished, so Friday night we did the trivia, guys. And then as soon as we got up Saturday morning, we started the renos down here in this office, didn't we? So it's the office / studio. So I will give you guys a tour when it's finished, but it's not quite finished yet. But
nah, it still needs a little bit of prep work.
Yeah, but we've kind of cleaned up the desk area.
Mm-hmm.
Off to my left, right over here, is now going to be the patch workshop area. There's enough patches now that it needs its own area. Tim looks vampire pale because Becky turned her light off. That's why
the light kills
it's blinding her tonight. Poor girl. Over here, it just showed up 2 nights ago.
Your bar?
My bar. Oh my God, guys, my bar. I love my bar. And we have a table coming from our record player behind. Yeah. So when it's all said and done, and I think there's a light coming too, isn't there?
Yes.
Yes, maybe some sort of fancy light.
Air.
Well, yeah, an on-air light's going to be over our shoulder. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm rather excited. I can't wait to get it all up and running, eh? Mm-hmm. So tonight, I figured we would do a Stranger Than Fiction episode, which you've done before. I don't know if I've ever called that when you've been on here, because I'm just like, hey, let's grab an article and we'll chat about it. But when I do it, I've always called it Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay.
So I reached out in the Telegram group today and I said, hey, send me some strange stories. Sean Mills is like, what are you looking for? I told him. And about 5 minutes later, he comes back with about 740 of them. So we did good. You guys can hear the ice maker back there. I forgot to plug it in tonight.
It's actually not that loud.
No, it really isn't. It's pretty good. But you can't hear the dogs, so that's the bonus, right? So,
Well, they look like they're all outside. So
drinking Voodoo Ranger beer. That sounds like it could be interesting. That's what Rachel's drinking tonight. So I grabbed some stories. Where did I put them? Right here. So Becky doesn't know what we're going to read. We're going to have fun with them. And we'll let her.
It's not fair that you get to know.
I know. That's the fun of it. You don't get to know. I get to know. And then I get to hear your opinion on it, as wrong as it is. So, yeah. Joe says maybe Tim is a vampire. I might be,
No,
he's
not.
I've been spending so much time down here making high-quality content for the workshop community that I'm lacking vitamin D. My nails are falling off, and I'm sleeping in a coffin. So we're all set. A couple things before we get into the articles, I wanted to share a couple of pieces of radio news today. I ran across an article this week. We've talked about ham radio quite a bit AM radio lately. Came across an article that said Ford is doing away with AM in all their vehicles, not just their EVs now. So it looks like it's a death knell to that sort of thing. This week, I don't think I announced it last week. This week, Bell Canada, they are our biggest telecom company. Yeah. They announced they're closing 6 AM radio stations, which sucks, but there's still like 150 in Canada, which whatever. But the really bad part is CFRX. Oh, sorry. No, let me go back. So they closed down. It was called Fun AM down in Calgary, and they were the home of there's only 2 shortwave radio stations in all of Canada. So we lost one of those this week. Voice of the Prairies is gone. Who knows what's going to happen to it? Probably nothing, but it is what it is. And so I got doing some digging. Did I tell you about this? Mm-hmm. Our hometown radio station, somebody stole copper wire.
Oh, yes. No, I heard you say that.
So you guys know I talk about radio from back east quite a bit. Our AM radio station that I grew up on, 1420, and well, it could be Dixon. I've heard that, Chris says it's because AM is the last stronghold of free speech. That's been the proponents of not getting rid of it lately. But I've always loved talk radio. So I grew up, when you'd wake up as a kid, 6-7 years old, and you'd want to know if there was a snow day. We'd turn it on to 1420 AM and we'd wait for him to read all of the
counties.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Today, schools are closed in Annapolis County. And they'd never say Digby, would they? But so anyway, a month before COVID started, some crackhead broke into the local radio station in my hometown, stole all the copper wiring from it, and it was so expensive to repair, the company decided just to move the station to FM. So that AM station has gone off the air. It is now silent. Could not find an update on the crackhead stealing the wire.
Well, you're going to be a dick. You're going to ruin it for
everybody. Right? And we're pretty used to that happening in Digby where I grew up. Hey,
it only takes one to ruin it for everybody, unfortunately. And Digby always seems to have that one.
Always.
Yeah.
So that was the radio news I saw this week. I thought I'd share. It was rather interesting. And Martinson family, CJ 1240 AM. What is that? The pass or the pause? Can't remember what that is, but yeah. All right. So first story of the week. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Oh, we lost it that fast. Where did it go? Let me go back one. All right. So this one came, of course, from Sean Mills. You'll appreciate it. It has to do with meth and maple syrup. So you might like this one, hon. Smugglers tried to ship 1,500 pounds of meth. Oh, actually, let's share this so you guys can see it too. It's fun. Share screen, entire screen, over here, share. And we will do this. There you are, guys. So don't mind the ad in the bottom there. Smugglers tried to ship 1,500 pounds of meth in maple syrup bottles, New Zealand police say. Authorities thwarted a drug trafficking scheme where smugglers tried to use bottles of maple syrup to ship meth from Canada to Australia. Officials intercepted the maple syrup with quotation mark shipment in January, which contained 1,500 pounds of meth worth about $250 million, officials said in a news release. Calling the bust Operation Reggie, New Zealand police said investigators in New Zealand
Regis.
Regis? Okay, yeah. Operation Regis? Sure.
That looks like Regis.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah,
Regis
yeah.
and Kelly.
Regis and Kelly. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Darn Canadian mafia, One Step said. The meth was part of a larger shipment heading to the Australian Asian market. Authorities say that in February, 5 men were arrested at a rural property near Helensville, New Zealand, as they took possession of the majority of the drugs. A sixth man was taken into custody when he tried the rest of the drugs. When he tried to take the rest of the drugs. Oh, boy. Okay. What do we got here? So, official, you think that must be the real maple syrup there.
Mm-hmm.
Prestige brand maple syrup. I guess it would have to be Prestige, wouldn't it? New Zealand police commissioner said the bust is the largest meth interception the country's ever seen. It's not the only recent bust in the area. Customs seized 1,300 pounds of meth at Auckland Airport the same month. So, what do you think, Mrs. Cook? Where do you think it came from?
Oh, it's not Canadian.
No, you don't think so?
No.
No. Prestige worldwide. Remember that?
Wide.
Boats and hose.
No, it didn't come from Canada.
So how in the hell do they even think that they're going to get? Because that would be an entire fucking pallet's worth, right? Or more?
What I don't understand, though, what I'm having a hard, okay, I know it's meth.
Sure.
Okay. But the thing is, though, is that they spend so much money into these drug busts and everything like that. It's never going to get it off the street.
No, never.
Right? It's never. And I think the only reason why they spend so much time and money into it is because the government wants to have their hands into it.
Oh, sure.
So why not just legalize it? And basically,
Do you think it would help?
Well, I think if they legalized it, it would, what do you call it?
Take the criminal element out of it?
Criminal element, but it would also, what's the word I'm looking for? It would...
disincentivize, like people wouldn't be trying to do it to make money anymore.
Well, but it would sort out the
deadbeats.
Well, no, my brain's not working
That's
tonight.
all right. Yeah.
No, but it would basically let everybody strong of the fittest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
what's the word I'm thinking of?
Survival of the fittest or Darwinism.
Yes, yeah, Darwinism. Basically, let them buy it.
You know what it reminded me?
Let it sort itself out.
Back when, how many years ago was this that Philip guy got arrested? Remember?
Philip.
Back home.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
that was shit.
Yeah. Oh,
because
sure.
he was the dealer. I don't even care.
Well, who knows?
No, he was. I don't even care.
So, okay, guys, way back. Well, I don't know. Was it maybe 15 years ago when I was working at the hardware store? There was a guy who used to fish, and all of a sudden he got this great job running boats from Nova Scotia down to Spain. And all of a sudden, one night we get home, and on the news, this boat gets arrested or seized with the largest shipment of cocaine ever, right?
And that's so full of shit. And then they had because everybody knew who he was. So all of a sudden, it was this great big huge sob story that he was in prison. And would he have something wrong with his kidneys?
Heart.
Was it a heart? Yeah. Okay. So all of a sudden he was in prison, and then they had this great big huge GoFundMe.
Yep.
And it was he ended up getting $250,000. Yeah, and this great big huge story. Oh, well, he didn't know. Bullshit, he didn't know.
And he was...
No, come on, you can't run constantly these boats and not
yeah.
and be the captain of the, like, I'm sorry, every captain knows front to back what is going on in their boat
and get paid an immense amount of money
Come
all of a sudden.
on.
I know.
Full of shit.
That's what this reminded me of.
And then of course his whole wife with the boo-hoos and everything like that, and all of a sudden they get this $250,000 GoFundMe, and all of a sudden miraculously he ends up back in Digby, and all of a sudden now they've got like $250,000 house, and they've got all this, and yet he just gets to walk away, and everybody all of a sudden everybody thinks he's some sort of friggin' superhero. And he was a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was anybody else, he would have no. As far as no captain does not know what's going on with their boat.
Well, that's what. How do you? Okay, because now here's the thing. One thing I think somebody was getting at it in the comments here. They only get 10%. Martinson said. So here's the thing. When they list this, it's kind of funny because when they list that it was $250 million worth of drugs, that's when they break it right down to the smallest point and then sell it at the highest price. It's not. I mean, it is still 1,500 pounds of meth. You know, I mean, it's something to put Walter White to shame, but. I'm wondering who the hell thinks it's a great idea to stuff it inside of maple syrup containers.
Well, nobody ever said drug dealers are smart. Right?
That's true.
They're all idiots.
That's right. I mean,
and especially meth heads.
Meth heads are ingenious, but not smart. They figure out ways to do things, you know?
Yeah, but they're not smart. And they're not doing it for anything. They're just doing it for enough money for their next hit, too, right? Like, they're just...
I did a video a while back on securing your generator, and in there I made some comment about how you want to get it, tied down or hidden so that some crackhead doesn't roll off with it. And I had a comment today from a guy, and he's like, "There ain't no way no crackhead's ever rolling away with your generator. That thing weighs 300 pounds." Yeah. And I said it's about 200, but I said you sorely underestimate the ingenuity of a crackhead, because if they think they can get a hit out of it, they're going to take it. Well, every time. And
that's the best way to do it too. Like, if you ever want like a new generator, just look for a crackhead walking down the street dragging one, and seriously, just go up and give him $50. He'll give you $50. He'll sell it to you for $50.
$20, guys. Yeah, whatever.
It's enough for him to do a couple hits, and then he's all set. He don't give a crap.
Oh yeah, and they will. I mean, One Step Closer says they were just trying to get enough money to get out of Letterkenny. Yeah, sure, yeah.
But seriously, if you see a crackhead walking down the street with something that looks like it might be worth something, just run up to him and say, "Hey, how much you want for that?"
All I can say is
get it for nothing.
I know a guy who, Sean, you know him. He used to buy things from him all the time. He'd just wait until they needed money and he would buy it. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And you never knew where it came from. I mean, it's like when my little Honda EU 2000 generator walked off. We knew it was a crackhead, but I ain't never going to find it because I didn't do my due diligence, didn't take pictures or anything like that.
Also too, if they're stealing things, they're just taking it to the pawn shop.
Oh yeah.
Pawn shop knows they're crackheads, and they're going to give them basically next to nothing for it because they know they're going to come out ahead. So I don't know. It's just, I just think honestly, as much as I love the government having their hands into things.
That's sarcasm.
Yeah, that's very, but you know what? I think it would be like, you just get tired of hearing it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, and they're never going to get rid of it. So just legalize it, jack it up, and let the weak sort themselves out, because it's just, at least if the government's going to make money off it, then.
So Know Your Joe, I thought that said meatheads, but it says meth heads. Know Your Joe says meth heads. The first part of every one of their plans begins with getting more meth. It begins and ends with getting more meth, and somewhere in between, it typically involves strapping every single piece of scrap metal that's not nailed down to the roof of a compact 1987 Pontiac or something. That's usually what's involved.
Or they're standing on the boulevards, rocking back and forth, and they're afraid of the little green things that are in the grass.
That is very true. Those are called caterpillars. But
I don't know what the hell they are. It's something that scares them. But I don't know. They just get rocking. I think they're so funny.
I got another one for you.
Okay.
Did you see this one this week? Lab-grown meat cleared for sale in the United States.
Nice.
Yeah, I knew you'd appreciate that. Meat without slaughter. Oh my fucking! Oh fuck! Sorry, guys. I just broke the E rule there. The explicit. Like, what the? All right, take a breath, Tim. What the hell? That is. Look at that. Meat without slaughter. That's how they're going to proposition it. Instead of artificially grown fucking meat in a laboratory, we're going to call it meat without the slaughter. Oh, how nice is that? Well, I guess I should go out and get some friggin' lab-grown chicken then, shouldn't I? Meat
Is it
without the
cheaper?
slaughter. Here's everything you need to know about lab-grown meat. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon Americans are going to be able to try chicken that comes directly from chicken cells rather than, well, a chicken. Huh.
How do they get cells from?
Apparently they extract the cell from the chicken. It goes into it. Wednesday, this is the best part. USDA gave, I always love the company names. These crack me up. Upside Foods and Good Meat, those are the two companies, the green light to start producing and selling their own lab-grown or cultivated chicken products in the United States.
Okay.
Don't run the supermarket just yet. Don't run to the supermarket just yet. It's going to be a while. Here's everything we know. What is it? In a nutshell, lab-grown meat or cultivated or cell-based meat is meat that is developed from animal cells and grown with the help of nutrients like amino acids in massive bioreactors. If this doesn't sound like some fucking post-apocalyptic dystopian friggin' science fiction movie, I don't think I've ever heard of anything.
Soylent Green.
Rachel says, go ahead and let the fucks out, Tim. I didn't read this article. Okay, I should tell you guys, I didn't read any of these articles before we started. I looked for length and I looked for the topic that Sean was talking about, so it'll be kind of fun. Yeah, Byron says, sounds so funny. Know Your Joe says stem cells.
Yummy.
Yummy. Oh, did I say, what did I say?
You said funny.
Funny. Oh, yummy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Stem cells replicated and triggered to turn into muscle tissue. Woo! Yeah, right? Rachel Brown, why does this sound like the start of a horror movie?
Last of Us started with flour.
So, Tori says, so wait, we can't use stem cells to grow new organs, but it's okay to grow breast meat? Well, maybe they'll use it. I'll leave that alone.
It's so gross.
It's so
I don't know.
gross.
I just, honestly, I think that's gonna,
I mean, this sounds like the fucking start of,
But the problem is, though, like, the whole point of vegetarianism is that, okay, because they're against, like, the slaughter of animals and everything, right? So, like, and they don't eat meat. So they're not going to eat stuff that has chicken cells in it.
They might. I don't know.
Well, vegans don't. Vegans, I don't even think eat eggs or anything because, like, anything that basically creates a shadow, they don't eat.
So here's what I'm going to say. So all of the backlash against the Impossible Burgers lately, where they were made out of, two things. They were made out of vegetables. They taste like shit. Well, this is three things. And they were full of chemicals. So now everybody's like, oh, that didn't work. But you know what's way better? Let's go with lab-grown meat. You know why? Because it's real meat, it's ethical, and it tastes good. That's what they're going to say. And you know what else it's going to be? The carbon footprint will be way lower because you won't have to use diesel to bring the animals to
you know what this actually, if something like this did work, that would actually be good in third world countries.
Well, anything would be better than what they have.
Well, no,
sure.
but I'm like, it would be a good way to,
or they could raise their own animals just like we do.
Well, a lot of them, I think in Africa and stuff, they have a hard time with animals. Because, like, I don't know, like, they just don't have, like, the planes and stuff that we do. But it's...
Hey, who's that? Larry Zeepel, good to have you. He says, drugs don't kill you. It's all the adulterants that are put in them. Legalize everything, regulate everything. Win-win as people get pure stuff and heavily tax it. I don't completely disagree with you. We live in Canada. The problem is, here's the deal. When you legalize it, the government gets their hand in it and they fuck it up. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, but the problem is they fuck it up to a point. But like I said, let the weak weed themselves out. So, that's why we put warning labels on everything. Did you see that meme online there? It said that, like, it's really funny. It says that in 2030, they're going to have flying electric cars, everything like that. And then it shows a Subway wrapper and it says, do not eat the wrapper.
Yeah.
That's how far, like, because the electric car, like, that was like from the 1950s.
Yes.
Because that's what they thought that we were going to be. And now they're putting do not eat the wrapper on a Subway wrapper. Like how, like, you know what I mean? Like, let those people weed themselves out. If you have to put, and it's really sad because usually they only put those warning labels on things because somebody's actually done it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that is really stupid.
I mean,
And I have no faith in humanity anymore. I really don't. It's like,
I'm just going to leave it out there that there's been times I've been hungry enough that I've eaten bites of the Subway wrapper because there was some good cheese left on it. But I don't know if I
yeah,
should
well,
admit
you're one
that.
of the problems.
I
then.
am, yeah. So Rachel, this is what you say. Rachel says, I still only want to eat things that had a face. It kind of reminds me of these AI pictures they develop. You see those? Aaron shared an AI beer commercial the other day where everything looked from a distance okay. And then when you came in, everybody kind of looked like they were in a Soundgarden music video.
Oh, boy.
But the faces didn't really exist. It was awful. So I know Your Joe says, realistically, if it's cultivated via stem cell replication, it will in fact be real meat.
So it's not going to, so like by them taking the whole side road of saying slaughter, because that's the main thing against vegans and vegetarians, but they're not producing anything that's not meat based. So it's not going to, no vegetarian or vegan's going to eat that.
Here's my thing. I still want a fucking, ribeye from a real cow that was slaughtered in a real slaughterhouse. I'm cool with that. But if somebody held a gun to my head and said, you either need to eat an Impossible Burger or an upside down, whatever this thing is, I'd probably take this, right? So,
yeah, but honestly, it might actually be good for third world countries because if they make it the right way and it has enough protein and everything in there for people to, get what they need. Like, I don't know, ship it over there. Like, I'm sure they'll eat it. But
One Step Closer says, sounds like a marketing opportunity for pasture-raised chicken, ethically raised. Yes, absolutely. So this happens in a production facility that looks a lot like a brewery. When you picture it, don't think of people in white coats and hairnets peering through microscopes, but instead people in white coats and hairnets wandering between giant vats.
What's the difference?
What's so great about that? One thing, this is CNN, of course, guys, so take it with a grain of salt. But for one thing, growing meat from cells means that people can eat meat without having to slaughter animals. So you can have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, from not slaughtering animals.
Sure.
I get that. But there's this whole thing that's been around for thousands of years. It's called a food chain.
Right.
And,
that's a good point.
And if we don't slaughter, what's going on?
I don't know. Skype has been doing this all day, trying to reopen. I don't know what's going on. So,
there's this whole thing called the food chain.
Right.
Anyway, so if we stop slaughtering animals, then that means we have to stop breeding animals.
That's a good point.
Because if we don't stop breeding animals, then we're going to be overrun with animals. That's the whole thing that they have that's why they allow hunting in certain times. And this is why their farmers have their cycling out of their cows. But could you imagine if they eventually stop slaughtering cows and pigs and chickens and everything, and yet people keep breeding, how much problems we're going to have and how many problems that's going to create?
That's a good point.
Because well, you think, for example, take a cow pasture.
Sure.
They have 100 cows. They're not cycling out these cows. So they're going to keep breeding. And then eventually you're going to have 500 cows, which are going to take the food away from the moose and the deer. And then if you're not slaughtering the moose and the deer, then they're going to start taking away the food from the cows. And then we're going to have a problem.
So here's another thing, guys, I just thought about. And so Haas nailed it right here. Next paragraph. Their environmental considerations as well. Agriculture, particularly animal agriculture, is responsible. The CAFO, the where they cram all of them in and shove them full of soy-based feed. That's the problem. So their environmental considerations is responsible for a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions. You use those three words in any article, and you get a hall pass to deal with whatever you want, which contribute to climate change. Overhauling the system could ease the burden on the planet. So
no, it's not, because you're going to mess up the food chain.
Here's my next thought. Beyond the food chain, what about the fucking genetic structure? So right now we have, I don't know the exact number. Somebody out there can absolutely correct me on this, but how many species of plants do we typically grow or harvest on a large scale basis? So what that has done over the years has shrunk kind of the family tree of all these, and we've lost a lot of these old species we don't have. So we don't have a diversity. So all of a sudden, what happens if we don't have a diversity of species anymore and something happens? Say we can't farm meat from a lab anymore, and then we have to go back and rebuild from scratch. Good luck with that, right?
Well, but then you're going to run into the other problem too. Like I said, with like the breeding, like they would have to go on every farm and tell all the farmers they're not allowed to breed their animals, because all these animals are going to keep breeding and breeding and breeding, and then you're going to end up with inbred, and there's not going to, because like nobody's going to buy them. Right. So, and then you're going to end up with all these funny, like all these cows and everything that are just basically going to get killed anyway for nothing.
And then we see,
and then they're going to be wasted
when you have listeria breakouts because of plants that aren't cleaned properly. I mean, yeah. So Know Your Joe says they will procure sample tissues from around the fat tissues in live animals. Once the process is completed, it is in fact real meat, and you cannot tell the difference. That scares the hell out of me, the fact that I couldn't tell the difference, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Know Your Joe says most plants found in nature you cannot eat, statistically speaking. Absolutely. Irish potato famine, anyone? Yes, yeah. Also true. And regenerative farming is carbon negative. What does I like that? Joel Salatin says my chickens don't do drugs. What do you say about this? Yeah, so I don't know. What are you going to do, right?
Well, I think it'll mess up the food chain.
And then the real question is it vegetarian?
Well, obviously not. They're taking animal cells.
Yeah, it says nope. Unlike plant-based meats that are products made by Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, cultivated meat uses animal cells. Well, of course we know this. Mm-hmm. So does it taste like regular meat? That's according.
Basically, yes. I don't like that answer.
No. Well, that lots of vegans say that Impossible Burgers taste like that too, right? So
they taste like cardboard.
So when we get right down to it, what has been approved in the U.S. so far? On Wednesday, the USDA's Food Inspection Service approved their grant of inspection. These type of applications are approved following a rigorous process, which includes assessing a firm's food safety system. The cultivated meat industry is regulated by both USDA and FDA. When will I be able to try it? Well, soon-ish, and only in certain areas. Good Meat previously announced a partnership with a chef in Washington, D.C. So, yeah. And how much will it cost to make? It cost over $300,000 to develop the first lab-grown burger. I remember that. That was quite a few years ago now, which was served a decade ago. The British company Ivy Farm said last year it could produce a similar product for less than $50. So, yeah, economies of scale, right? So, yeah, who knows? One step closer. It'll probably cost more than the real thing people eat as a status symbol. There's some possibility behind that, too. Mm-hmm. And yes, here we go. I almost put you in timeout. Know Your Joe. Sorry about that. Said the real issue is what they will add to the mix for your safety, and more importantly, for the safety of your children. Mm-hmm. And you know what? When it comes down to it, Joe, I think that's the best comment of the evening so far, because you are right. The things they put in it that we know about, and the things they put in it that we don't know about.
And you'll never know.
No.
And they won't tell you.
Yep, absolutely.
Or they'll tell you, but it'll be a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo that you don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, in the words of Alex Jones, they make the damn frogs gay. I don't know what's wrong with the frogs, but anyway.
Why is he always picking on the frogs?
I don't know. He just doesn't like the frogs, so I don't know. Maybe he does like the frogs.
I like the frogs.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I like frogs.
Leave frogs alone. They don't bother anybody.
So this one's a funny one. This is actually from a couple of years ago, but this story started making the rounds.
Oh, I read this one.
Did you? Oh, so yeah.
It's kind of dirty.
It is dirty, and the guy comes off like a real dick too. So
yeah, but you know what? He got his.
Yeah, 90,000 oily pennies dumped in Georgia man's driveway as final paycheck from former employer.
The employer sounds like a real dick.
A real dick, like the worst. Mm-hmm. And the dude's anyway. Yeah, so apparently this is the picture of the wheelbarrow with the pennies in it. It weighed over 500 pounds, and. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, let's go back for a second. Rachel says the article makes it sound like people are anxious for fake meat, as in they can't wait to have it. But that's...
No, just the ones that think they're doing but good.
That's the legacy media. I hate using that term, but that's what it comes down to, is that...
just the people who are on CNN.
But, yeah, if a person has an agenda, and that could be positive or negative, when you come at an article, you're going to write it in... the vein that makes your beliefs look the best. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it shouldn't be, but
that's how CNN is, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, always, absolutely. Yeah. Haas said, read that when it first happened. The owner even mocked the employee. Yeah, I know. So yeah. I don't know if I caught the end of this. So maybe you can fill me in on it, because this is just what happened. And yeah,
it was something to do with they took him to court.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't think this article has that part in it. Maybe I should.
I think they did. They
So Byron Roberts says the writer is always right, and that's what do they say? The history's written by the victors. So Georgia man had 90,000 pennies, oily pennies, dumped $915 dumped in his driveway as his final paycheck. What an asshole!
Yeah.
And the dude's like, his final pay slip had been placed on top with an explicit message on the envelope from what looks like it was his boss. The guy says that was a real childish thing to do. The former auto repair shop manager moved the pennies off his drive and into a wheelbarrow in his garage. 504 pounds. And oh my goodness, yeah. So Haas says he was even accepting pennies to pay the invoices on his website, saying the pennies were legal tender. So the former auto, he moved him off, put him in his in a wheelbarrow, hauled him into the garage, and of course they said it made him flat tire. So the guy that received the pennies told Fox that he'd been struggling to get his last paycheck after leaving his job in November. You're right, Chris. How are 90,000 pennies worth $915?
It's weird, right?
Yeah, well, they
I know.
The math isn't quite right. But here, yeah, they do clarify. So I'm glad you caught that. But yeah, I said that the dude, Flatten is his name, now spends his nights cleaning the pennies so that he can cash them in after it took an hour and a half to make a few hundred of the 91,515 pennies usable and able to be cashed in. I think that's going to be a lot of work for money I've already worked for. It's definitely not fair. And this is like, what the fuck? An OK Walker Auto Works owner, Miles Walker, told CBS he didn't remember doing the delivery. You know, my brain just doesn't work. I don't remember dropping 500 pounds of oily pennies in this guy's driveway.
He probably didn't. He probably had somebody else do it for him.
But either way, but he's like, I don't remember. Well, okay, so you didn't write his ROE or his last pay stub? Like, I just don't remember driving up, and I don't know. He got paid. That's all that matters, the guy says, before calling Flatten a weenie. God, this sounds like friggin' satire. It sounds I know it's not, but yeah.
Yeah, they took him to court.
Flatten's girlfriend said she hopes her boyfriend's story brings awareness to how people are treated so poorly by their employees. So, yeah, didn't even remember mocking him. So there was a follow-up to this, was there?
There was a longer story. It's like, it was something, I think they took him to court and they got a...
Yeah. The Georgia auto shop owner who in 2022 paid one of his employees his final wage by dumping 91,000 oil-covered pennies in his driveway has been ordered by a judge to pay $40,000 in back wages and damages to his employee, court records show. Yeah.
But it says employees, so there's been more than one.
This guy's a legit dick. I mean, you can have it on both ends, but so they said, doesn't remember mocking him too. Yeah. Okay.
No, he got his own.
So Miles Walker in Peachtree City, Georgia, was ordered to pay back wages just about $20,000 plus damages at about $20,000.
Yeah.
Last year, the Department of Labor filed a lawsuit against Walker. Flatten quit his job after an argument with his boss and contacted the Labor Department. How can you make this guy realize what a disgusting example of a human being he is? I've got plenty of pennies. I'll use them. So he said... the judge additionally instructed Walker, that's the owner of the business, not to threaten or intimidate or retaliate or discriminate against any current or former employees. So apparently this has been an ongoing thing for a while.
Yeah, I think there was, the story I read like there was a couple employees that have had issues with him. I don't know if it was to this extreme, but I don't know if they even still work with him. But... yeah, I think there was a couple other ones.
Here's the thing. I mean, we're employers, and we've dealt with employees who aren't good either. So it goes on both sides. But you're absolutely right, No, Joe. It balances out. But I mean, here's my thing. I'm a big fan of not bringing attention to yourself. So even if you are, and then Chris Dixon says should be sentenced to firing squad by pennies from slingshots. That'd be a slow, painful death.
Yeah.
But even if you are an absolute douchebag, shouldn't you be in favor of looking after yourself? So my thing is, you get pissed off at somebody. So you end up taking 500 pounds of pennies, dumping them in his driveway, full of oil with a nasty letter on top. You're asking for nothing but escalation at that point, right?
Well, he probably didn't think it was going to get... he didn't this much attention, right?
Canadian Farmstead said they logged in just as I said he's a legit dick. That's perfect. That's good timing to show up. So, I mean, I don't see how else you can.
No, and like what he did was completely wrong. But the problem is that, and it doesn't justify his actions, but they don't say exactly what went down. Okay, so there was an argument and everything. But the problem is, though, like, there are some employees out there that are like bigger dicks that employers have to put up with because of the labor board.
Oh, sure.
So
but here's the thing.
And no, it doesn't justify it at all. Like, this guy's obviously a dick.
Yeah.
Right? But it is true. Like, there are a lot of employees out there that think that they can walk all over you because, they're going to do this. They're going to, like, and it is out there. Fortunately, all the girls that work at the daycare and everything, they're wonderful. So I don't have any problem with any of my girls but there are people out there.
Oh yeah,
unfortunately.
So Martinson family just said, anybody out there follow Wrangler Star? Because I love the dude. He's gone right off the deep end recently. He cracks me up. But I'm reading this comment from Martinson in Wrangler Star's voice. But he's like, "Hello, beloved. Dimes fit in an unchoked 12 gauge. Do with that as you will." The other day, I'll just say that it was, what are those little autonomous vacuum cleaners? What are they called? The little round disc ones that go around and...
the Roombas?
Yeah, Roombas. He's like, just in case you're wondering, you can fit a whole bunch of tannerite in a Roomba. And I'm like, whoo, we're in trouble. Yeah, so, yeah, Chris Dixon says, yeah, so... I'd like, but that does, Martinson. I really think that I'm going to tune into TikTok tomorrow and see Wrangler Star doing a video about dimes fitting it into an unchoked 12 gauge. So,
yep.
And Byron wants to know how the dude got that many pennies. I don't know. I have no idea. But here you go. This is a good one. This one also came from Hack My Homestead, Sean. And let's go back up to the top. This dude looks like he's, I don't know, maybe not quite with it or something. I'm not sure. A man accidentally shot himself in his sleep while dreaming about a home invasion. Sorry. That's kind of an American title, isn't it? I love it. That's good.
A Florida title.
Yeah, let's just put Florida man accident. No. He's now been charged with 2 felonies. Oh boy.
Why would he be charged for shooting himself?
I don't know. I haven't read the rest of the story, but it should be fun. I mean, the title alone should be enough to get some, jollies out of this one. So a man he was from Illinois. Well, that explains why he was charged with a felony. A man in Lake County, Illinois, who accidentally shot himself while sleeping, has been taken into custody on charges of illegal possession and reckless discharge of a firearm. And yeah, your Joe says that's a good one. Doesn't that fall into the category of don't try this at home? So yeah, you're right. The man identified as Mark Desaria of Lake Barrington grabbed a .357 Magnum revolver in his sleep while dreaming about an intruder entering his home on Monday night. He then fired the revolver and shot himself in the leg. Instantly waking up from the dream, it added. No shit, that's the most obvious sentence of the entire night. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, hon, there was no intruder in his house at the time.
That sounds like somebody that needs meds.
Honestly, that sounds like, you know what that sounds like to me? I was showing off for my friends, doing a little spinny, and shot myself in the leg, and I didn't want to tell everybody I was a dumbass, so I'm going to make up a story that I shot myself in my sleep.
That sounds dumb. That's even more dumb.
I know, but at least plausible deniability, right? Okay, yeah. Howdy, Moon Bear. Good to have you. Haas is like, what the fuck? Yeah. So police were called to the scene and found him in his bed with a significant amount of blood. Yeah. They applied a tourniquet and transported him to a nearby hospital. The round discharged from the firearm went through his leg and lodged into the bedding. Fortunately, the round did not travel through a shared wall with his neighbors. While drunk, probably. That's what Haas says here. Mm-hmm. An investigation found that the dude had owned and used the revolver despite not having a firearms identification card, which is mandatory in the state of Illinois. According to officials, his card had been previously revoked, and the details are unclear. The Lake County Attorney's Office did not immediately respond. He was arrested, charged with possession of a firearm. He was released after posting $150,000 bond. That's an expensive bad dream, isn't it?
Well, the problem is, honestly, if you want to have a gun and you accidentally shoot yourself, that's on you. But it's the whole point that he wasn't supposed to have a gun because it was illegal.
Right.
Because he didn't have the proper... Why would you shoot yourself if you're not supposed to have a damn gun?
I want to let me finish this one little bit right here. So, okay, that's the end of the story, right? But because the news,
because they have to drag it on,
because the news is the news, they had to type or tack on these last two paragraphs or last two sentences. So instead of just reporting on the facts, they then kind of need to interject an opinion at this point. And there have been a string of isolated and senseless gun violence incidents in the U.S. Earlier this year, a black teenager from Missouri was shot and wounded by a white homeowner after he mistakenly rang the man's doorbell. And so then they get down here and like, okay, so that has absolutely nothing to do with the story.
What does that have to do with
the price of tea in China?
What does that have to do with?
Are we allowed to say that anymore? I don't know.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with somebody accidentally shooting themselves and having an illegal gun?
Absolutely nothing. But they just throw it on there because it passes their agenda. It follows their, I don't know, right? So One Step Closer says, hear me out. Maybe he had some of that meth-laden maple syrup. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Probably.
Yep.
I'm thinking he was probably drunk, maybe high, or maybe he just needs medication. Because sure. Everyone's had those really realistic dreams where, you wake up sometimes and you're like you're kind of second guessing yourself. Like, did that really happen?
Like that time I woke up at 1:00 in the morning, had a shower, got dressed for work, and realized it's fucking 1:00 in the morning.
Exactly. Well, and then you kind of think to yourself, like, whoa, did that really happen? Because sometimes your brain does do those things. But to actually have a loaded firearm when you're not supposed to have a loaded firearm within reach, if you know that you have a tendency to have these type of dreams, probably not the best idea, but still has nothing to do with somebody ringing a doorbell and getting shot by somebody who's white or black. Why do they even have to bring color into it? What does that matter?
I know.
It shouldn't matter.
I mean, we could look up Insider. I don't know Insider, but based on this story, I can tell what way the company probably leans, right? So, and Byron Roberts says, "I've done that before, Tim." He's done it to me.
Oh
yeah, got ready for it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, the story.
Was there another good story?
Oh yeah.
This? Okay.
When we were down the neck, I had to work in the morning, and all of a sudden, I hear the alarm go off. Remember? And I look at the clock and you turn the alarm off. I get up. He's like, oh, hun, you got to get up. I get up, go have a shower, get ready for work and everything, come back. And the alarm is still set at 6:00. And I said, Tim, it's like, well, why is the clock set like that? Oh, well, that was just the set time. I said, well, what time is it? Flicks it back. Yeah. 2:20 in the morning.
I don't remember that. That's
never
funny.
When I worked at Dollarama.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then imagine trying to go back to sleep after that and then having to work all day. Yeah.
Byron says went back to sleep dressed for work. I think that's what I did too, right? So
I just ended up staying up and then I was incredibly grumpy when I came home. So it's like
kind of par for the course most days. So
most days.
Let's see what our next story is for you, hon. This should be a good one. Let's see. This one also came from Sean. So we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories in a row from Sean. So I think that's the last one he sent me. I got 2 more or at least 1 more after. But 28-year-old woman posed as a teenager to learn English, sheriff said. Did you hear about this?
I've heard of a story about this. Similar to this one, but not this one.
So authorities in St. Charles Parish said a 28-year-old woman accused of using fake documents to enroll as a high school student was not trying to hurt any kids. They held a press conference Wednesday saying they wanted to ease parents' mind. The young lady caused no problems. She did nothing inappropriate with any other students, kept to herself, went home, didn't engage in any other criminal or inappropriate behavior. Martha, 46, and her 28-year-old daughter, Martha, were booked on 1 count of injuring public records. Leave the poor lady alone. It sounds to me like she had no other way to learn English, but Champagne says the two created a fake passport and birth certificate from Honduras so she could get a good education at the high school and better her English. Champagne said the mother was in the country on an expired visa and the daughter has documentation of being processed by the federal government coming into the U.S., but was unable to comment on their most current immigration status. It's my sincere hope that this particular incident will bring awareness to school systems in Louisiana and throughout the country the need to review their student enrollment process. Where do you go with that, babe? Because there's so many things you could deal with. Yeah, One Step says I couldn't leave high school fast enough trying to sneak back in.
Right. You know what? If she's not hurting anything, like she didn't hurt anything. Like she just wanted to obviously she must have had a shitty education in Honduras, so they were just trying to better herself, right? Like,
I would assume they'll be deported at this point.
oh yeah,
because,
it's, like they went about it the wrong way, because
Sure.
I'm sure there is adult schooling that she could have went
right.
to.
Learn English is a
Oh yeah, and most places have like English, but maybe she couldn't enroll in them because then they would want more information. Who knows? But
I mean, I'm not gonna begrudge her if they're here. I whatever,
Whatever.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. The poor thing got caught. She's gonna leave.
mhm.
It just kind of shows probably how easy it would be.
Well, and it sucks though too, because like even though she is 28, if like you don't know what her schooling was like in Honduras, so like maybe she does only have the education of a grade 9.
Well, it kind of seems like that's what was
so
implied,
like
right?
so you know what I mean? Like, so maybe
Oh, that's cool.
maybe she couldn't get into an adult school because her education wasn't high enough.
One Step Closer says libraries around there have free English classes.
Exactly, right?
That's cool. Ask around. Yeah, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Or find somebody that'd be willing to teach you.
Honestly, I don't think it has a lot to do with the school. I think it has a lot to do. They found out that she was there on an expired visa.
Sure.
So
And,
now they're going to make an example of her, right?
and you know what?
So
There probably could be more to the story too, right?
true.
There always is, because every story always has a bit of a bent to it, right? And
Well, the story that I read, actually, I read it a couple nights. That was similar. It was like from a Reddit,
okay.
and they said that it was a girl from Russia, and she come over and she was an exchange student, and she was in their house from September to December. And then in December, she said that she had to go home because there was a family emergency.
Right.
And then, I don't know, it was like a couple months later, the daughter or something was in another town and was driving and drove by the girl that was supposed to be from Russia. And so she pulled her over, and apparently this girl had no accent, nothing. She just wanted to stay with them free for a couple months because she said that she was checking the town out. She wasn't.
That's twisted.
And she was an adult.
Okay.
And she was claiming she was in high school and everything. So, like, I don't know how much, like, I don't know how much truth there is to that story, but I read it from Reddit. I was like, yeah. So she was claiming a high school student living in these people's houses for 4 months for free,
Pretending to be
an exchange student from Russia. Yeah.
So
And it was very, very strange.
just going to shout out to Kyle, Backwoods Butcher. Good to have you. Just want to let you know that before you got here, we did release the statistics from last week. We gave all the places for who did best in the trivia contest. Mm. And in case you were wondering, brother, you tied for 11th place, dead last with 2 points. So I'm proud of you. Keep it up. We'll get you a little higher next time. But pretty good, eh, hun? So, yeah, One Step Closer says, was the Russian girl hot? Oh, dear. That's usually what...
I have no idea.
She
wasn't Russian.
Yeah, exactly.
She just was faking an accent.
So, all right. Haas says, notice there are way more women. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. The whole sexual assault things does seem to be happening with the female teachers as much or more than the male teachers. Or maybe they're just reporting it because that happens too, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, all the time. All right. This one's weird. So I got this one. There's a lawyer out of Michigan that I follow on YouTube. He's really good. I'm sure some of you guys follow him too. I just can't think of his name. But here it is. Yeah.
The Orphan.
Yeah. Backwoods Butcher says that's like the midget that somehow got adopted as a child.
That's the Orphan movie.
Is it, or was it a real story too?
No, that's the Orphan movie.
But is it based on a real story or is it just made up? I thought it was originally, yeah.
I don't know. The second one was stupid. But
whenever I think of exchange students, I think of The Simpsons when they went to France, when Bart went to France, you know? Yeah, that was funny. So you guys got to check this out. A California sheriff remains free to rob armored cars carrying money from state licensed marijuana businesses. So this sheriff, and I know a little more about this story because I watched a video on it, would tell his deputies to pull over these armored cars and say you're going a little too fast, or you are, what's the other word for it? One time they were a little late or a little early to put on their signal light. And so in the States, if you have, Latho's Law, that's exactly it. Thank you, Know Your Joe. Great dude. He's really, really cool dude. Obviously, he knows his stuff. And he's one of the few lawyers that'll actually give you a solid opinion and tell you how he sees it as opposed to it depends. So Haas says that's all he had to say. So basically what's happening, you guys know that if a cop pulls you over and they search your vehicle and they find more than the normal amount of money, they can just take it. It's not eminent domain, but it works like eminent domain, I believe. And then you have to sue them to get it back and prove that it's real or that it's, not ill-gotten gains, right? So federal judge declined a restraining order against the California sheriff. So here it is. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies stopped these vans, MP Real vans, 3 times in, get this, November, December, and January. Now, these are armored cars or armored vans that have a license to transport money. They are a company that transports money for marijuana distributors. Totally legal in the state of California. But it's in, there it is. Thank you. Civil asset forfeiture. And said some states have banned it. So anyway, they pulled these guys over. And to me, it's 100% they're going after them. They're targeting them, right? Mm-hmm. So here it is. 3 times they seized cash during 2 of the stops, making off with a total of over $1 million. They pulled them over and they said, hey, you were slow getting your tail lights or your signal light on. We're pulling you over. Oh, you have a bunch of money? We're going to take it. And then what'd they do? Instead of keeping it in the state, they give it to the feds so that you couldn't go after the state. Because technically in the U.S., babe, marijuana is still illegal at a federal level, but it's been legalized at state levels. So these guys are...
So they're trying to shut them down then?
No, not even shut them down. They're trying to get the money to finance the sheriff's department. Because here's what happens. You take $1 million from these guys. Mm-hmm. You send it to the feds. When the feds say, yep, we're going to keep it, 80% of that money gets kicked back to the sheriff's department. They get the money. So if the government prevails, there it is right there. If the government prevails in the forfeiture proceedings, the sheriff's department will get 80% of the money under the Justice Department's equitable sharing program. The earnings of state licensed marijuana suppliers are not subject to forfeiture under California law. Isn't that something? So there is actual footage or recordings from their chest cams that basically say you can hear the cops going up and they say something to the line of, oh, I thought we would have got more money this time. Isn't that awful? So they're represented by the Institute for Injustice that argues the San Bernardino County Sheriff has no authority to seize money from businesses that are complying with state law. Holcomb said the evidence presented so far was not sufficient to establish Imperial and its clients were operating in accordance with California laws. So, here it is. So, Backwoods Butcher said it really happened. A few years ago, there was a video of a bus driver throwing a kid off the bus, and it turns out that it was a little person trying to abuse kids. Interesting. One Step Closer says, I hope they fund his opponent in the next sheriff election. Yes. And Haas says they know this because it sometimes costs more to get it back from the courts than what was taken. And Know Your Joe says, is this not stealing? It's not stealing because the government says it's not stealing.
Wow.
It's called civil asset forfeiture. And it's when you're driving around with more money than the cops say you should have, they get to take it, and then you get to take them to court to try to get it back. It blows me out of the water. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I've heard of this before where people get pulled over but they're literally focusing on armored car drivers and saying, hey, surprise, we're taking your money. Sue us if you want to get it back. So it turns out there is an update to this story. They took them to court. They basically said, we're not going to focus on you anymore. They got their money back. Yeah. So it's the government, law enforcement, stealing money from armored cars that are transporting it for legalized dope dealers. What a fucking shit show that is, eh, baby?
I don't know.
What do you think?
It's just, I don't know. I just think it's just stupid.
Yep.
It
blew me out of the water. I like that civil asset forfeiture. You hear about it a lot, but I mean,
well, obviously, it sounds like somebody knows their laws.
Yeah. Well, but they were targeting them too, right? So. And that was what it was. They
get a different van so they can't target.
Well, that's what I figured. They probably did, but I mean, cops are supposed to look out for you, right? When it comes down to it. So,
well, I don't know.
one step, I mean, I say they're supposed to, but yeah. And like Backwoods Butcher says, big shock, it's California. I know, poor California gets shit on all the time.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I know. You were there. You recently, weren't you? And
Yeah, California. I don't know. California it's definitely their own breed of people down there. Like it's I don't know.
You're being polite tonight. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, no, it is. Like I don't know. It's just like it's just something. It's just like when you go there, it's really nice to go, but it's just I don't know. It's just it's like a whole different world, and it's not. I don't know. You just feel weird going there, and
But we didn't feel that way in Florida, did we?
no,
Fucking love Florida.
no.
So,
Well, I've been to Florida several times, but I don't know. I just found with California, it's just like I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like BC.
Know
Like,
Your
you feel
Joe
the same
says
way.
the one thing that government always needs is more of your money. And Chris Dixon says, Commie Florida deserves everything they get.
Well, it's like Comnia, Canada too. So there you go.
And well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
to me, when you look at a state like California, their mindset is the more we tax, the more prosperous we'll be. And nobody can tax themselves into prosperity. It's like standing in a bucket and trying to lift the bucket up off the ground. It doesn't work. But for some reason, they think this time it will. So I guess we'll see, won't we?
Well, I think California's just a full. Hang on one second here. A bunch of pretentious pricks.
Sure.
That's basically all they are. It's like because you always see like the really really big feeling ones. They're either in California or New York, unfortunately, and the really really douchey big feeling ones always end up in California.
Yeah,
and they always think they're better than everybody else, and they think that they're high and mighty, and they just think that they can just do whatever the hell they want.
And it's a mess there.
Well, it's no different than Quebec and BC.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the same thing. Like I wish we could kick both them out because they're useless too, right? So it's just like all they do. Well, and even like as much as you think about Nova Scotia and everything, but they're almost as bad too because like all they do is sit back and collect all their what do you call those deferred payments or whatever from Alberta and everything, but they don't want it. Equalization payments. That they love collecting all those equalization payments, but yet Alberta's not supposed to have any oil fields or make any money. But California's the same way. Like we'll tax, but then we'll bitch that there's not enough. It's the same way. Like you can't make them happy.
No. And Chris Dixon says BC and Quebec are great at money laundering.
Oh yeah, and so are the eastern provinces too. Like
but that's what it comes down
Nova Scotia,
to is
New Brunswick. They're all the same. It's like
we want your equalization money, but we don't want you to have any sort of oil or natural gas.
Well, we want your equalization money, but we don't want you to make that money. You got to come up with it a different way.
Right.
Like, don't you be fracking. Don't you be doing any of that stuff.
No. We'll still take your money, though.
No, but California's the same way. They're, I don't know, take, but they don't want to contribute. That's what it's the same way. BC's just as bad.
Know Your Joe says, I believe that most of the drivers allow officers to search the vehicle without a warrant. And that's what it comes down to is know your rights. And because if a cop says, I'd like to see in your vehicle.
Say no.
You can say no. Absolutely. Yep. And yes, one step closer, free Alberta. I mean, we already touched the U.S., so it would be fun to become, the 51st state, right? I'd fucking love that, but it's not going to happen. So
no, it won't, unfortunately. Soon. Well, and I don't think you have that news story on there, do you? About what they're doing up here with the news, what you're talking about there last night, the news stories with like Facebook and everything.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. That would be, actually, I could bring that up. Yeah, you guys might appreciate
one more step to communism. Here we come.
Here we are. So
awesome. I can't wait.
Yep. So, so the news, the Canadian government in their infinite wisdom recently decided, guess what we're going to do? Since social media, Facebook and Google and whatever, allow news stories to be shared on them, they're going to force Meta or whatever, the company that owns Facebook and Google, to have to pay royalties to the news companies. So they're like, hey, I know how we'll get more money into the newspapers' pockets. We'll force big companies to pay them to share their articles. Oh, guess what? That didn't happen. So now Facebook's just going to ban the sharing of news anywhere within the country of Canada. Fucking government. Fucking government. That's all I can say.
And you know damn well it wasn't going to go to the news.
No.
It was going to go to the government. because the government owns the news.
Oh, it's going to go to CBC,
and they own
I
the
know.
news,
Yeah,
and that's basically what it is. And
it blows me out of the
well, no,
water.
it's another step towards communism. So you know what? We are heading. This is exactly. It's kind of scary. So now we're not going to be able to share.
Speaking of scary.
Oh
sorry.
yeah, he's a scary dude. Doesn't he look like an alien?
An android.
But this is one more step towards controlling the media and controlling the news. And you know what country does that? Is North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's going to come down to the point where we're not even going to be able to have news stories unless it's approved by the government, and it's going to be the government telling us what we can and cannot read and do. And that's exactly what's going to start happening.
Sounds like Big Brother, if you ask me.
Well, that's what North Korea is.
Sure.
It's like I don't know if anybody's familiar with North Korea. They are with some of their things. They only have posters that you're only allowed. A man is only allowed to pick from certain haircuts.
Sure.
Same with a woman. They're only allowed to have certain haircuts. And eventually it's going to come down to the point where we're already we're not allowed to share news stories now on our Facebook. Facebook is supposed to be a platform for free speech. So now all of a sudden,
I don't know about that. But
no, it's gotten progressively worse over the last couple of years because now they friggin'.
But I don't think even if you asked Mark Zuckerberg that he would say that Facebook's a platform for free speech.
No, but it used to be.
Oh, sure.
It used to be but now, of course, then I think it got worse around COVID.
Sure.
Because as soon as you started putting the wording,
it absolutely.
Yeah, as soon as you put COVID, it'd be you get that little post up there. Your post contains a word COVID, and then are you sure this is what you meant to say? Because they want to make sure that But that's how it starts. And now, honestly,
I agree, Chris Dixon. He says we don't need news to live our lives. You're fucking right. We don't.
No, we don't. Go. But it's
what the hell is that?
We don't, but it's the principle.
Sure.
Right? Because
hey, I agree.
Yeah, I honestly,
it's not going to do any good to fight about it, and it's not going to do any good to.
I haven't read the news in long. I didn't even know about the writer's strike until you told me, because I don't even read the news. But the whole point is that it's the principle. Because it's just one more thing that they're taking away from us, and they're telling us we can't do it.
Right.
And that's
here's the deal. I don't like to be told not. If you tell me I can't do something, I want to do it. Right. So
yeah, but that's.
So here's a cool story that I thought would be on the more positive bend. I sent this to Sean Mills. I was talking to him on the phone the other day. I said, you got to check this out. This is kind of cool. So he was on the show the other day, and me and my thing for batteries and power storage and stuff. So the big issue is that batteries are really bad for the environment right now, right? And people want us to go green or whatever, and they want us to store, renewable energy on site. But this is a really cool. So Sean talked about flywheels. So it's basically a really big, like a flywheel. So it gets spun up, and you store tension energy in it. Mm-hmm. During the day when the sun's out, and then you can release it, and there's enough power in there to power an entire house for a day, which is really cool. So anyway, this company in Australia, this is the very first household size flywheel. This holds 32 kilowatt hours of energy, which is basically enough for the average home for an entire day in Australia, where they built this. So before this, they used to have to build these underground. Now they can build them on just right there. See, they got it on a little cement platform. Those guys are standing next to it. It's about, I think they said it's about 6 feet by 6 feet. So, a good, a big rain catchment system or something. What's cool about this is there's no chemicals, no weird metals that need to go in it. It's just a mechanical device. It's like a kind of an old-fashioned way of storage. So they used to run buses on these in the 1950s, I believe is what it was. I think it's cool. So anyway, this company has been building them over in Australia. So they said the 32 kilowatt system was installed over 2 days in an above ground enclosure, dramatically cutting the time needed to install the flywheel system. The installation involved a single flywheel, which looks like this. It stores energy mechanically, meaning it has no fire risks, can run around 11,000 cycles without any degradation, and boasts a 20 to 30 year lifespan. So this is basically a battery without any chemical storage. The major drawcard for the owner of Sawyer's Value property, who wanted a system that did not pose a fire risk, could power their 3-phase loads and provide energy security as they have a lot of blackouts there, right? The company has installed 16 flywheel systems. So there's some more right there. But what I love about these is that they're a simple way to store energy that requires no chemicals, no mining of, by African children over in African children in Australia, over in Africa, like in the cobalt mines and stuff, right? This is basically another type of gravity battery, basically. And that's all there is to it. So you're Joe. So exactly. It says, how do they spin it up? That takes energy. Yes. So here's the thing. This is, you see those are solar panels there. So this can be linked up with a green or, a renewable energy program. So you would put solar panels or wind or whatever you happen to have on your local property. And again, what's great about solar is it works when the sun's out. It doesn't work when the sun isn't out. So until this time, you'd have to have a big Tesla Powerwall or a great big bank of batteries to store all this power. It's very similar to the old idea of they'd pump water way up a mountain and then release it at night when, they didn't have the power. So you would be charging up this flywheel during the day with your excess solar power. And at night, when you need it, you could draw off it. And it's a really, really simple. Yeah, it's essentially a physical battery. Way simpler. And call me crazy, I think this is the way we're going to go. I think this is 1,000 fucking times better than any chemical storage battery out there. I don't know. What do you think, baby doll?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I don't want to shit on your parade.
Oh, you can do what you want. I don't care.
I don't really give a shit about any of this stuff.
Oh, that's fine. You don't have to.
Anytime you get talking to me about batteries and generators and solar power, and I'm going to be 100% honest, guys.
I'm going to cry myself to bed.
My brain just shuts right off.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I try so hard to listen to everything you say, and I try to support everything that you're excited about. But this is just one thing, and I'm sorry if Sean's listening, but I don't
find it interesting at all.
I have less than zero interest in any of this.
Well, remember what I said years ago? I started all my content creation because you got tired of me talking about tools. And now I bring you down here and make you listen to me talk about batteries, right? So, and Tori says, how pissed is the electric company going to be when more people use these? They're going to lobby the government for some BS taxes. Well, here's the thing about this, though, is this could be used on grid or off grid. It doesn't matter. So if you are, if you could store your power time of day discount again. So in the middle of the night when power generation is lower, they could end up having, store it in a flywheel. Absolutely. I think it's cool. And,
well, honestly what I see, and it sounds like a cool idea. I just honestly, I see something ugly that's going to sit in my yard. And if I'm out in my yard and I see that, it's every day I'm going to look at it and I'm just going to get more and more pissed every time I see it.
I'd build something around it for you.
It doesn't matter. I'm just one of those people. I'm just going to go in my yard and I'm going to be sitting there and every day I would look at it and I would just get more and more pissed about it. And then eventually I'd look at you and I'd be like, get that thing out of my yard because I don't want it in there because it's ugly. Right? Like, I'm sure if you're on a farm or something, it would be fine because you could put it in a backfield and you wouldn't see it. But no, it is a neat idea.
And they did say that originally they were burying these because I think probably because if the fucker ever blew up, it'd be really bad, right? But
are they plastic?
No, I think they're all steel. So
okay.
Let me see if I can show you something. I really like this. So flywheel buses from I think it was 1950s or maybe 40s. I can't remember.
Is that how old they are?
The original technology is. Yeah, okay. This was how they used to. There's the gyro bus is what it was called. And it had a massive flywheel right here in the middle of it. And they would pull in these. So these were electric buses in the early 1950s. These had one of those flywheels like that right there. Mm-hmm. They would charge it up when they would park. And then it could power itself off this flywheel with the stored energy for quite a while. So the technology's been around since at least the 50s. And now we're all of a sudden, hey, we're going to bring it back. It's just like I watched a video today, guys. Do you remember how we used to store things on magnetic tape? Mm-hmm. It's making a comeback.
Oh, boy.
So a lot of these big storage systems are going to tape now because it's cheaper. And they think they can compact the data on it way better because they're basically running out of space on hard drives. They can't make them any smaller. which I thought was kind of cool. Backwoods says Becky and his wife, would get along great.
It's true, right? Like, I don't know. Like, our yard's not very big to begin with. And, you know, I allow Tim to have his sea can and his solar panels on top of the sea can. They're ugly, and I hate them in my yard, but I will suffer the consequences of that. But that thing isn't going in my yard.
Oh no! Well, we're a ways off from this yet, but
but I know you're going to start looking.
Fuck
that thing is not going in my. That is not going in my yard.
But yeah. So the thing is, it didn't say what the price was, guys. I don't know if we can see Key Energy household flywheel cost. Let's see if they say what the cost is. I don't know. Yeah. They cost around. All right. A French startup has developed a concrete flywheel to store solar energy in an innovative way. Currently being tested in France, the storage solution will be initially offered in France's overseas territories. With a surface of about 10 square meters, the 10 kilowatt flywheel can be used to store electricity. It doesn't say what the cost is. Let's go a little further here. I thought I saw it. According to the general, carbon flywheels currently cost around 250 euro.
That's euros
per kilowatt hour. Okay, so I guess I don't know what I don't know. Anyway, I don't see a price here. Concrete ones are around a few euros, particularly our patented technology. Yeah.
No, so they won't put a cost on it because it'll scare everybody away, and then they won't want nothing to do with it.
I will do some more research, and we'll see if we. Yeah, and Goofy Roofy says if you have to ask, that's the truth. And One Step Closer says flywheel install in Tennessee. Well, just for the record, our property
on my property.
Yeah, our property is not very far from Sean Mills at all. So
we'll see about that.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Know Your Joe says bury for sound dampening and safety in the event of a catastrophic failure. Totally, I agree. I'm sure that's what it is. And Haas says, sounds like they how they power from dams. And it really is. And Goofy says, post-World War II, a lot of things got tore up because the car companies lobbied big dollars. Yeah. So it said, okay, Know Your Joe says cost is about $250 per kilowatt hour. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, so you'd multiply that by 32 for the 32 kilowatt hours or whatever. That's not horrible. I mean, batteries are gonna wear out or run down eventually. It's gonna be a little more expensive, but you have no chemical to deal with or anything along those lines. So
I don't know.
Yeah. Chris Dixon says it's like asking what fuel mileage a Ferrari is, right? Yeah, there it is. So multiply 250 by the kilowatts you need. So yeah, that's
euros though.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean
that would be
what about $1.5 US or no?
Euros are cheaper than pounds.
Right.
So 1,500 euros is about 2,000 Canadian dollars. So.
At 30, around 10 grand, that's not horrible. I mean, what does a Tesla Powerwall store and what does it cost now? And that's with all of the lithium and whatever that needs to be stored in the battery. So whatever. And the price will keep coming down. I think it's kind of cool. Oh, yeah. So euros are close to the U.S. or they were. Yeah. I always get mixed up because we have the good old Canuck bucks up here, right? So that are quite a bit less money. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think it's a cool technology. I can't wait to. Yeah. And Goofy says it lasts around 30 years as well, which is significantly longer than batteries. And that says, a useful life or basically with very little degradation. So even beyond that, you might get a little bit extra. And Chris Dixon says, do we get carbon credits? No. I don't know, because we've been paying our carbon taxes and it hasn't helped yet. So,
well, it's not putting out the fires.
No, it hasn't done.
And it's not stopping the snow.
No, that's true. It hasn't, has it? So
I don't know. I think it's a farce. It's not true.
So what are we going to do this weekend, baby? That's the end of my stories for tonight.
The end of your stories?
I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We did 8 tonight. So okay, yeah. So about $1 to $1. So that's not bad. You're looking at less than 10,000 US for one of those residential flywheels that will hold enough power for an entire day. And if you couple that with solar panels, that's a really good storage. You could probably get 2 or 3 days power out of it if you were careful. So we're going to do some backyard work this weekend?
Yeah, we're going to clean up your mess.
I don't have a mess.
Yeah, right. Mess on the other side of the fence?
No, it's not a mess. It's a strategic location of salvaged materials.
No.
That's what it is. It's just...
It's a mess because while that big white empty box is not part of materials, that is garbage.
It's a sawhorse. I'm using it as a sawhorse. You know this, so
not the big white box that's been rained on.
Yes,
No.
Yes, it works good.
No, it's garbage because
Yeah.
Mr. Cook has a hard time throwing things in the garbage.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. So. One Step Closer says, "I bet we could redneck something up for half the cost." Are we going to work? We're going to work on the back deck this weekend.
I think so.
I'd like to.
My main thing is I want to. It's supposed to rain on Sunday, so I want to get some grass seed down.
Mm-hmm. I bought that for you.
And a little bit of wood and not wood. Dirt.
Yeah.
Dirt and fertilizer.
I picked that up for you.
And the wood's for the deck. We need to replace a piece of board on the deck on the fence because the dogs have found a peering hole. And they will not stop barking. And actually, Miss Dee Dee has been pushing against it. So I think she's going to get out.
Tori says she has no children tomorrow. I should interview potential suitors with that time. That sounds like speed dating. Is that what you're saying, Tori? Are you going to go speed dating tomorrow? Because we'd love to hear about the results. We'll start the prepper dating service, right? So that'll be awesome. But yeah, so Backwoods Butcher says, out of sight, out of your wife's mind. That's why it's all on the outside of the fence.
No, because every time I drive into the driveway, I can see it. Because our fence goes like this and our driveway's here. So if I can see it, no, it's garbage. So we've got to clean up all that. And then I think we were my brain is not working tonight. The place that sells the plants.
The nursery?
The nursery. Oh my goodness. I am so bad.
You guys got to know that she's such a fucking trooper because she was shampooing carpets and doing laundry at the daycare until I rolled up to haul her back. She came home, scarfed a sandwich down, and straight downstairs to come on here with you guys. So the
nursery has a sale, and she has some really nice looking lilac bushes.
Guess what? We know what I'm doing this weekend, folks.
Well, I want to put a couple more in between where the ones I bought last year, so it kind of fills it out more. Yeah. I'm hoping she'll have something a little bit bigger too. And then I'm thinking around the lilac bushes, I think I'm going to put some mulch down, and then a mulch walkway with some grass, and we want to put some grass seed down. So
Backwoods says, but then they walk around and find it, and you have to say you're going to throw it out until they forget about it again.
I don't forget. That's the problem.
You do for a little.
No, I passively aggressively mention it about every couple days.
I cleaned my garage today again.
I don't care about your garage.
I know, but it needed.
I don't care.
So.
And it just, sir, I don't. He will spend all day cleaning that garage, and then tell me like it's like he wants some sort of award. I don't care about the garage. I want the damn yard cleaned up. Because I don't even go in there. So
it'll look good. I wanted to tell you guys about the peephole in our fence because that all started because a certain son hit the...
Yeah, our son backed our truck into the fence and took the corner out.
Just kind of broke a chip off the board. So
and it was about $3,000 worth of damage to the truck. Yeah.
It's about a third of a 1x6. So it's still been sitting there.
Yeah.
The thing is, it wasn't a problem until I built the next section of the deck in the backyard. And so what happened was it brought it up to eye level for chihuahuas.
And they stand on the deck and it's complete eye level.
They don't have to bend up or down. It's perfect. So they sit there, they stare out the little peephole, and they give stink eye to anybody that walks up.
Oh, no. And it's loud stink eye because the biggest chihuahua out of all of them is Dee Dee. And she has established this howling with her bark. And it's so loud and piercing. It's like nails on a chalkboard. And of course she can see plain as day right through that hole. So we've got to put a new board there.
Chris Dixon inherited 20 fruit trees today, and they're going in guerrilla style this weekend because F those guys. Absolutely, the town
what fruit trees, Chris? Like, will they? Because I'm always looking for like an apple tree, but there's nothing there's nothing hardy.
Remember, he lives in the tropical section of Alberta, unlike us.
It doesn't get cold?
Well, it gets cold, but he gets a lot more heat and a lot more sun. We
can't get anything to grow. My lilac bushes I bought last year, I got them at Home Depot.
Remember, he lives down where the cactus grow. Remember the little tiny cactus in Drumheller? Yeah,
well, he's farther than that. But these came from Home Depot, and I thought for sure I was going to lose them, but no, they came back.
Which ones did you say?
The lilacs out from Home Depot. No, they came back really good. My hydrangeas are growing really good this year.
So that, in case you guys are wondering, so we have a So again, this is state level jiu-jitsu or whatever you want to call it. But out front we have, yes, actually, that's right. I should talk to them, baby. So down Calgary way, Verge Permaculture, they're a really big YouTube channel.
Okay.
They could help us out or at least point us in the right direction of what we need. But so out front, we had a water main break years ago before we bought this house. I was helping work on it because it was a rental I looked after. And so we had to tear up, about 4 or 5 of our hedge bushes?
Yeah. So
in our town, here's the deal. It's really weird, but you can have a 6-foot fence around the back of your house, but anything that extends in front of the front main street of your house can only be 4 feet. But there's no limit on hedges. So my motherfucking hedge is growing 20 feet high.
Oh yeah, you're gonna trim the hedges up to this. I think we're in zone. I think we're zone 2 or 3. I think.
I can't remember. I'm so bad. Let's see. I thought it was, I don't know. Let's see.
I think
I'll tell you. Zone
3.
Yeah, zone 3 for the most part. So
yeah, I thought we were.
The Canadian government has recently changed that zone rating to zone 4. So it's probably because of climate change, I'm sure. So
we didn't pay enough carbon tax.
That's true. If we pay more, it'll go back down. Yeah.
No, we have a hard time getting like any really good fruit. Like it's a big difference than Nova Scotia because like we could get like those nice apple trees and fruit trees and stuff. We can't get anything really. Well, I mean,
in Nova Scotia, the first, the last frost was in April, and the first frost was in like late October or in October at some point. And here, it's basically the end of June to the end of August.
Well, I couldn't. Yeah. I gave up on gardening because I couldn't even get my squash to grow here. Remember?
Yeah.
I love growing squash because the girls love squash and couldn't get any of them to grow, so we just kind of gave up on
it. Apple, cherry, and plum. Chris planted 30 Saskatoon bushes 2 years ago by the town compost area, and their foot tracks by, and people are starting to notice free food. I love it.
I hate Saskatoon berries. They don't like them either.
No, they don't. They don't make a bad jelly, but they're just they're like a mealy blueberry. That's what they are. I haven't.
Yeah, no, I don't like. We have there's a lady just lives outside of town, and she'll let you come and pick them like a huge bucket for $5. And we went out. We were all excited, and they're gross. I couldn't do anything with them.
Yeah, I wasn't keen on them. But it's one of those things, if you grow up around them, you're going to... What was when we went through Idaho, what was the name of that berry? Angus, is that huckleberry? Yeah, they're very similar.
It was huckleberry, I think, yeah. Yeah, no, but we can also mention, too, that I don't know who do we have from Tennessee?
I don't know if anybody's in here from Tennessee tonight. I'm not 100% sure.
No, Kerry doesn't live in Tennessee, does he?
Oh, yeah, no, he does. He was just on for a few minutes. I haven't seen him in a while, so I don't know why this keeps doing that. But anyway.
I don't know. No, if anybody's listening from Tennessee, especially Brian and Corey, Tim's bringing down, we're looking for a camping site.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
A camping site for when he comes down. We priced out hotels and everything, and they were just like through the roof. They weren't. So he's going to be down middle of August. So we're looking for like a campsite with power, water, sewer.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So if anybody knows of anything around where Parsons, I think it was.
Yeah.
Camden.
Yeah.
Maybe even Camden.
Wherever. Yeah. In that kind of area, Camden or south of Camden a bit. So we'll find something. And Brian was telling me about I was talking to him about his campground.
Yeah. No, but you never know. Somebody might know something. Yeah. So Tim's gonna live in an RV he's gonna be a hobo for 2 months.
Go and sell our fucking RV last year, and then we're looking at buying a new one this year.
Yeah, but
they're smaller and nicer. I know.
But there's a lot of places in the States now that you can't even have an RV if it's over 10 years old.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And our RV was like what was that, 98?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they wouldn't even let you on the lot. They would have sent you packing.
This is something I need to do. Chris made pemmican. I've never tried that before. I've always wanted to.
What is it?
The ground up berries and fat, and the explorers or whatever used to take it, or the natives. I'm not sure. It's like one of the most calorie dense foods that you could store and carry with you. But yeah. Well, what do you think, Mrs. Cook? Want to call it a night? Let's go get something. You want to get something to eat or relax or something? I know I'm
not really hungry. I know I was. Anthony messaged me. The kids left their blankies at the daycare.
So we got to go back over and get.
No, I have them meet them
up
there. I told her I was online, so that's what I was doing on my phone. He messaged me. I guess they're having meltdowns because they're called kikis.
Yeah, so. But you know what? This is pretty cool because they were kids that have been part of our daycare since day one, and they're ones that love to see us. And they sent us a video from their birthday party the other night?
No, it was just a present that
Okay.
we got. No,
And they
no,
thanked
yeah.
me even though it wasn't from me. So I thought
Well,
that
your name was
really
on the
sweet.
card.
That's true, yeah. And
Yeah, but they he just messed. They forgot their keys. So
we'll
Yeah.
see him on Monday. But your mom's taking care of it for
oh yeah,
him?
no, they won't sleep unless they have them.
Makes
so
sense.
yeah, they have to.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you, Haas. You said great show, Tim and Becky. It really should say great show, Becky and Tim, because I just kind of show up and hang out with you, right?
Pretty much.
It's fun. I enjoy being able to do it with you, baby doll. Well, thank you guys. So there'll be, again, no show tomorrow night, but we're going to work our tails off. That's what I love about our Saturdays right
Yeah,
now.
as long as we don't get any no rain yet.
No, looks good.
And I'm not going to hate on the rain this year
No,
because
we need it.
I absolutely hate rain. I do, because I hate mud, and the dogs track the mud all through the house. That pisses me off even more. But we need the rain.
Yeah, but
we really do.
They did get a foot of snow in Alberta the other day in the Rockies.
I would have took a foot of snow because even the moisture in the ground, right?
Yeah, it would have been good. So.
But no, it's been miserable, and I hope we get enough rains. I don't know if I think the fires have kind of.
Yeah, I think we're okay
Yeah.
now. Well, thank you guys. We always love you. We appreciate you. It was I love our Friday night episodes. We have a lot of fun with them. So, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week, guys and gals.